All Black squad for the Rugby Championship has been announced, folks. There are 36 guys plus one man as injury cover in Fozzie's squad. We'll go through the squad pretty quickly. Who's in, who's out, who's retained their spot, who's injured as well. And you guys can let us know your thoughts. Keeping in mind that a lot of the guys who've missed out will be named in the All Blacks 15 squad, which will go to Japan a bit later in the year as well. But yeah, we'll start up front. Hookers is pretty, I guess, steady as she goes. Taylor, Coles, and Tokiaho. Those are your three guys. Tokiaho has probably been the best of the bunch in black recently, although the All Blacks haven't played since last year. Taylor has been in phenomenal form, and then Coles is kind of the veteran. I guess Almoa is maybe your next cab off the rank who misses out, but those picks, I think most All Blacks fans would have seen that one coming. Props, there is one uncapped guy in Tamaiti Williams. Alongside him, to Groot Newell, Laulala, Tungafasi, and Lomax. Well done to Tamaiti Williams. It's a good call, I think, from the All Blacks to get him in cap because he's a big unit. He's great around the park, can scrummage both sides of the scrum. I mean, what more do you want? He's still really young. I think he's in his early 20s, like 23. So in terms of propping terms, still heaps of potential to go. So get him in. Get him coached by the All Blacks, forwards, coaches, and whatnot, and see how far he can go. Like, he genuinely looks the business in terms of the All Blacks propping stocks for the future. Fletcher Newell hasn't played in bloody ages, but the All Blacks must be happy with his fitness because it must be like round 1 or 2 since we've seen him play for the Crusaders. Remember, Bauer and Moody are a couple of the injured guys who were unavailable for selection. Locks, also I think pretty stable. Retallick, Lord, Whitelock, Scotty Barrett, and Tupo Va'i. So Lord is the one guy who kind of comes back after a wee layoff from the All Blacks. He's only had a couple of caps in his time. Remember, he spent a lot of time on the sidelines. But I mean, Retallick, Whitelock, and Scotty Barrett, it's been your main three guys. And then Va'i has accumulated 18 caps in the meantime with Patrick Tuipulotu out reasonably long term injured. It makes sense to have Josh Lord in camp as well. And Whitelock may miss, I think they said 3 or 4 weeks with his injury. So, they've got a bit of depth to be building at lock. But, yeah, there's kind of no real bolter there. There are a couple when we get to the backs. Lucy's Savia, Papali'i, Jacobson, Kane, Finau, and Frizzell. Finau is maybe the closest thing to a bolter. And interestingly, Fozzie did say, having watched the semi-finals at the weekend, that changed one spot from the squad he had initially selected. Seeing the semi-finals, saw one guy come in. If Finau maybe that guy for the Chiefs. I mean, it could have been any number of other guys as well, but certainly he's been having a cracking season, so congratulations to him. Jacobson has also been in phenomenal form. Him and Sam Cane have just been absolutely taking the house down. I should mention that Cane continues on as captain, so there's no real surprises there. And the guys who miss out, so Tutu, Harmon, Akira Ioane, and then Blackadder being injured kind of at the wrong time, maybe also left the door a little bit ajar. Whether they would have chosen Blackadder kind of remains to be seen because he's spent so long out injured, but the fact that he's injured again basically shut that door on his probably All Blacks campaign for 2023, but and maybe for the future we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, man, well done to Finau. I think they can certainly form a pretty tasty looking back row from the guys they have selected. Backs, you've got Smith, Christie, and Roygaard. So Roygaard is your uncapped guy. We did a video about the potential kind of best players in the number 9 jersey in New Zealand. Roygaard was certainly one of them, man. His pure kind of ball in hand attacking stats, and nobody gets near them. Like Aaron Smith for setting up tries and Roygaard for scoring tries, and then Finlay Christie was kind of in the middle. You do feel for Brad Weber. Brad Weber is once again kind of on the outer. Brad Weber's never really been able to kind of get ahead. Like, he's been behind TJ and Aaron for so long, but he stayed loyal to New Zealand rugby. But he's been playing some bloody good games as well. His stats were pretty nice. But yeah, he misses out to the youngster Roygaard, I would say. Fakatava, I guess, is another one who misses out on the All Blacks selection. But yeah, the 9 at the moment, we're actually looking relatively well supplied. I think we've got a bunch of guys who could do a job. 10, Bodie Barrett, D-Mac, and Mo'unga. That's kind of steady as she goes. I guess Perofeta is the one guy who maybe I don't know if he was in the conversation at the moment because the Blues, had a much better season last year than they did this year. I know it's only one game difference, but their overall season just wasn't as impressive this year. So Perofeta maybe misses out there with D-Mac being in phenomenal form, Moonga being in phenomenal form, and then Bodie kind of being the established guy. Midfield is just like chopping and changing. I mean, you still got ALB, Geordie Barrett, and Rico Ioane. That's pretty steady. And then Enor's been in phenomenal form. I mean, I've been a bit critical of Enor, him being kind of a bit average, but he's been well above average in recent weeks for the Crusaders. So pleased to see him. But the one absolute true blue, didn't see that coming bolter, was Dallas McLeod, and they've named him as a midfielder despite the fact that he spent so much time on the wing with the Crusaders having a bit of an injury crisis this year. But yeah, Fozzie said he sees him kind of as a 12. So well done, man. Didn't see that coming. I don't think many people saw that. But I mean, Good Humus is out. He's going to France next year anyway. I mean, Lalala's going to France. There's a few guys who are off to France who've still been picked. RTS has gone back to league. Obviously, Humus is out. Havili's injured. Tupaya's injured. So yeah, the midfield one hasn't looked kind of settled, partly due to injury and partly due to selections. Outside backs, Clark, Narawa, Telea, Jordan, and Fainganuku. Fainganuku being one of the guys also off to France. Remember, Sevu Reece is injured. Well, Jordan's only just come back, but he's still looking sharp. Fainganuku justifies his call, even if he is off abroad, because he's been playing some devastating rugby. And remember, he can cover the midfield too. Narawa is one of your, I don't want to say bolters. He's one of your, was a probable or a possible going into this campaign, because on the right wing, he's been in phenomenal form for the Chiefs as well. Breaks a lot of tackles, that man. Caleb Clark, a lot of people will be a little bit unconvinced by him as kind of a complete player. He's certainly a great player going forward, ball in hand. But anyway, he is selected. He'll add his 15 caps. Sean Stevenson is the extra guy added as kind of injury cover. And you got to wonder, what the heck does he have to do to get into the 23 itself? He's injury cover because Mark Telea has got a 2 to 3 week injury cloud over him. So, yeah, that's the reason Stevenson is in this squad. Initially, we'll train with this squad rather than potentially the All Blacks 15. But, yeah, man, he's been having a phenomenal year. Goodness gracious me. So, yeah, that is your All Black squad. McLeod is certainly the biggest surprise for mine. I thought Tom Christie was a potential bolter, but honestly, realistically, would I have put money on him getting into the All Black squad? Probably not. Not really. I think the All Blacks have got plenty of depth at 7, even if he is one of those guys in cracking form for the Crusaders. But yeah, 5 uncapped guys plus Sean Stevenson. Interestingly, Fozzie mentioned that he's left a few messages and texts for some of the unpicked guys, but has not had a kind of return message or return call, which is just bizarre. I would have thought if you wanted to be an All Black, you would try to keep the All Blacks coach in your good graces, but I don't know. Maybe the disappointment is too much for some of these guys to take. I'm sure the phone will be ringing from some French and Japanese clubs in the near future for some of the guys who weren't picked. But yeah, remember, there is still the All Blacks 15 to kind of keep guys connected in with New Zealand rugby in a World Cup year. But yeah, folks, that's your squad. What do you reckon? Geordie and Rico is your midfield. Would you be happy with that? Or does ALB need to be the guy who starts ahead of those two? Because, yeah, there are still people who would say the midfield is not the place for either Geordie or Rico. But we'll see how the coaches go. It seems to be a little bit of a reward on form for the guys like, Roygaard, like Fainganuku, who seem to have fallen out of favour. I mean, Telea right up into the finals, been in red hot form. Stevenson, even if his injury cover, has been in phenomenal form. Finau also with the kind of form factor. Tamaiti Williams, absolutely. But yeah, All Black squad. You guys, let us know your thoughts. Who's hard done by? Who's a wee bit lucky? Yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon.